The University of Maine at Augusta and the Maine Department of Labor have announced a new cybersecurity and IT registered apprenticeship program. The program hopes to provide not just experience that's difficult to replicate in a classroom, but also connections for students to land jobs post-graduation. Henry Felch of the school's cyber program spoke with us about the importance of building up the workforce of this industry.
So I think with the apprenticeship program, it allows an employer to look at somebody, bring them in as entry level, but now train them the way that company wants that employee to be.
They say many in the program are non-traditional students that might not go to school full-time and also have a job, but can still get an education like this one. You can find more info on the school on the UMA website.